Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Kollin at crackedfemalecode.com. Number one, stop listening to the guys who don't have a fucking clue. And they don't have a clue that they don't have a clue. Another one, there's a couple things going on out there right now. You've got all these new podcasts, YouTube podcasts, where you've got these guys that are angry and bitter and bitchy. Women this and women that. What they're literally saying, I don't understand women. I don't know how to pick up on a woman. I don't know how to seduce a woman, and therefore women bad. And then they cry. And you know what? Here's the thing. You can literally look in their eyes and you can see how fucking angry they are. Even though they're just like, it's like they got this anger, like, this is unfair. It's only unfair because you don't know that you don't fucking know. Trust me, once you learn 1 + 1 = 2, there's no doubt about it. There's no question. It's absolutely true. So when someone comes along and you're like, hey man, what's 1 + 1? They're like, I don't know, but it's not fair. Women bad. Call the ambulance. It's like you've got these grown fucking men on these podcasts, and it's like, okay, I get it. They're fucking frustrated because they're angry because they can't get what they want. Love and pussy. So instead of admitting that and saying, I need to figure something out here, no, they're going to make a complain podcast, and that's all. I mean, there's 2 podcasts I'm thinking of right now. That's all they do. That's all they do. And millions of people are following these guys, leading them down this desperate hole of nothingness. Well, guess what? I've got some answers for you that's going to blow you away, and we're going to start right now. All right, so there's this podcast right here. This is a guy that I respect him, and I think he's a smart guy, but he is literally missing the other half of the fence. Now, let's look at the woman right here. And all the women he has on this podcast, guess what? They are completely and absolutely missing the other side of the fence. And so now we've got 2 sexes, men and women, who literally don't know that there's something extremely important to understand on the other side of the fence. So a long time ago, man, this is about 20 years ago, maybe more. Now, my mom and dad have been divorced since I was about 4.5 years old, 5 years old, something like that. And here we are, 20 plus years later. And she's just still pissed off. Oh, your dad this, your dad that. I'm like, Mom, that's absolutely not true. She goes, what are you talking about? So I taught her a couple different ways that humans communicate. Number 1, unconsciously. Number 2, how our love strategies are different. And there was another thing that I teach in my course. So essentially, here's what it is. The way a man loves a woman is not the way a woman receives love. Now, this is extremely important to understand because this podcast is absolutely going through it, and this is why these 2 are arguing with each other. It's like 2 idiots arguing with each other, not knowing that they don't know that they don't know, that the other person doesn't know that they don't know, that they don't know that they don't know. Honestly, guys, these podcasts that you think you're getting good information from, they are literally the blind leading the blind, and I'm going to prove it in this video. So I had a client, a female client a while back, and it was the same thing I taught my mom. So it took me about an hour and a half to teach both of them a couple of the pieces for the brain to go, oh, so they both thought their husbands didn't love them, refused to love them, and just never loved them. And I'm like, no, actually, because the lady that I worked with, I actually knew her husband. I'm like, your husband loves you very, very much. I know that for a fact. So here's the thing. It's easy for me to say that, but when I start breaking this stuff down, your brain goes, no shit, I did not fucking know that. And that is the point of my course. Now here's the deal. All women think that all men are idiots. They literally think there's something either wrong with our brain or there's something missing. I know because I've been working with women for 30 fucking years, and I've heard this from all of them. But once they take my course, they're like, oh, I thought he was just being a jerk. Like, no, that's the way men express their love. So their initial response is, but that's not love. I'm like, oh, no, that is love. That's love to a man. They're like, really? So then I explained the neurology, the wiring, how a man opens up to his heart and how he receives love. Technically, it's called emotional fulfillment. To a woman, though, in a million, billion, trillion years, that would never, ever be received as love. It's so foreign, so odd, and so strange to the female species. She's looking at you like, ooh. And this is what women will say, well, what's wrong with men? I'm like, there's nothing wrong. That's the way a man receives love. Now watch this. This is the even more fucked up part. So the way a man experiences love or receives love is not the way a woman experiences love or receives love. But what do? Both men and women. We're wired in our neurology, the way our brain, our mating system is wired, so we do that unto her, thinking, well, that's going to make her happy because it makes me happy. Absolutely not true. Completely wrong. So here's what human beings do. We project onto other people what we are because we think everyone's like this because we are physically, neurologically wired this way. This is the way our neurology and our computer system works. So, well, of course she's going to think this is love. No, not at all. Men express love in what's called the external way. Women cannot receive love in the external way. She has to receive it in what we call the internal way. If you don't do this, every ounce of effort, all the money you spend, all the effort that you do will not be received by her. Now, it's not because she's a bad person. It's just because it's like, how to explain this? It's kind of like if you take a plane and put it underwater, it's not going to work. It's not because it's a bad plane. It's because planes are not supposed to be in the fucking water. They're supposed to fly. All right, here's the deal. We are so completely opposite, but there is an answer. That's what my course, Crack the Female Code, is all about. So here's kind of a metaphor that I like to give to men because it kind of gets your brain to go, okay, yeah, that's true. So here's the thing. A dog barks and a bird flies. So here's what it's equivalent to. If a woman's trying to love a man in the female way, or if a man loves a woman in the male way, it doesn't work. In other words, look, no matter how much you yell at that dog and punish that dog and say, bad dog, it's never, ever gonna fucking fly. Same thing with the bird. You're looking at go, what are you doing up there, you bad bird? Get down here, start walking around, start barking like a dog. It's gonna look at you like, dude, you are just, something's wrong with you. And this is essentially what men and women are doing to each other right now. And this podcast with this guy right here, God bless the guy, he's a smart dude. He's doing a good duty to an extent, but he doesn't know that he doesn't know. And once you take my course, you're going to look at these podcasts and go, holy shit, they're both sides of the fence. Neither one, the male or the female in this argument, doesn't know that they don't know what they're talking about. But they're very passionate about it. All right, so when I was a kid, we were fairly, I wouldn't say wealthy, but we were definitely upper middle class. We had some money to spend, brand new sports cars, brand new house, brand new restaurants, brand new everything. My mom and dad, they opened up 2 restaurants and they really did a good job. The restaurants were kicking ass. So my dad one day went to the florist and bought out the entire florist shop, every single thing, every flower stand, every bouquet, everything. I mean, literally, I remember walking home from school. I went by there. I'm like, I thought the florist was going out of business. I thought, man, that poor guy. So I got home about 6 blocks later, and I started coming in the door, and there's roses in the front of the front door. There's flowers. There's these stand-up bouquet things. I mean, they were massive, dude. And I'm going, what the fuck's going on? I open the door. Dad goes, Michael, hurry. Mom's going to be home. Hurry up. And I'm like, what? He goes, come in, shut the door. I was like, okay. So as I walked in, there was flowers on the left, the right, and then to the right in the living room. You couldn't walk in the living room or sit on anything, including the coffee tables, because everything was covered with flowers, including around the fireplace. It was insane. Flowers, roses, bouquets, these big stands are like 5 feet tall, etc. And then to the left, going up the stairs, were rose petals going all the way up to the bedroom. And of course, the bedroom, I'm assuming, I never went in there, but was probably filled with a lot of flowers. So you would think This would make mom really happy. Oh no. So we're in the kitchen kind of hiding, waiting for her to walk in the front door. And I remember I heard my mom's car, boom, it was a real powerful sports car. And she walks in the front door and she's looking around. She's really quiet. I'm waiting for her to smile and just jump for Jubilee and all that shit. And she's just like, what the fuck? She goes, God damn it, Gary. Why do you always do this? Now, as a kid that was expecting my mother to be extremely happy, I was like, the fuck's going on? And then she just starts screaming at my dad. And I was like, what the hell? So here we are 25 years in the future. They've been divorced for over 20 plus years, maybe 25 years at this point. And I learned a lot of stuff in NLP and psychology, hypnosis, and all that stuff. But there's some things that I discovered that you're not going to get from anyone, from Tony Robbins, anyone. And these are the answers that have been missing in everyone's fucking course. So watch this. So my mother is basically still pissed off at my dad 20 plus years later, and I start teaching her 3 of these pieces of how men express their love, the way men receive love, and why men offer love in the male way. Now, if you're a man that is dating another man, it'll work great. And this is what all you dudes are doing. And all the pickup artist courses are doing the same fucking thing. They're teaching you how to pick up on dudes. So you're in the pickup artist course thinking, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Yep. Because you're a man. Because that's the way you're wired. If it works for you, it's not going to work for her. Period. End of sentence. So I teach these 3 pieces to my mother, and she gets really quiet. It took about an hour and a half or so, maybe a little bit longer. And she was like, no shit. And right now you're like, well, teach it to us. Well, I tell you, I'm going to teach a couple of pieces in the next coming videos. And the reason you think, well, teach it right now, it's like, dude, this would literally be a 2-hour-long video. And I know, men, your attention span is way too short. You right now, Mike, give me the secret code, like it's a fucking combination code to a fucking lock. There is a code, but it's once you learn it, it becomes really fast to learn to use it. But to learn it, you have to flip to the other side of your brain, and that's the first job that we have to do, because otherwise you're not going to understand a freaking word that I'm saying. By the way, this lady is a beautiful lady, but she does not know that she does not know. Oh my God, she's giving out the worst possible advice. She is just wrong. Love the lady. She's a beautiful lady, classy lady. I love some of the things she says on a social level, but when it comes to dating, relationships, and love between men and women, nope. She's doing what everybody's doing. The men coaches, they teach what the male side of the brain. The female coaches, they teach the female side of the brain and say men are wrong and men are bad, men need to change, and men blah blah blah, and it's completely wrong. It won't help you, and it definitely won't help your relationship. Literally, I'm telling you guys, these are the blind leading the blind, but they really believe they know what the fuck they're doing, but they don't have a clue. So after working with this lady about 10 years ago and then teaching this to my mom, I don't know how many years ago, is they both got really quiet, like, oh, no shit. I'm like, yep. And they both said the same thing. Well, he does that all the time. I'm like, yep. So he did love me. And I'm like, yep, he totally loved you. The problem was he was expressing his love in the male way. And as I'm going to say it again, the way a man expresses his love is not the way a woman receives it. She literally neurologically cannot receive love in the male way. You have to learn how to give it to her in the female way, and then she will be the happiest woman on the planet. And you know what? Until you do that, she's going to be pissed. I mean, imagine being in love with someone, being in a relationship, and the person you're with just absolutely refuses to love you. But that's the thing, you didn't refuse. You worked really, really hard to love her, to buy her things, to give her things, to do all these things that you as a male truly believes is what women want, is what women believe is love. But it's not. And that's the problem. The shit that you're doing is not fucking working. And here's what happens. You feel dejected. She feels like you don't care about her. And you think she's just not appreciative. The problem is you're both fucking wrong. We both receive love in the opposite way. The other thing is we are literally speaking two different sub-languages. Women speak this language around you since the day you were born, but it goes right over your head because the left male brain processor, the logical processor, cannot pick up on this form of communication, and thus men and women don't understand each other. Not only are we speaking two different sub-languages, we are using two completely radically different processors. The left brain and the right brain are different computer processors that give a different meaning to the same language. In other words, when she says A out of her right brain, let's say a paragraph or two of information out of her right brain, unconsciously you pull that information over to your left brain and you filter it or process it through the left brain processor, which is the logical processor. This processor gives a completely different meaning to everything she just said. So you literally changed everything she just said into something she didn't say, and then you'll say, well, you said this and this means that, and she's like, no, I didn't say that. What I said was this and this means that, and you're like, no, you said this and this means that, and then next thing you know, you guys are arguing, fighting to death. And here's the deal. You know that love and relationship coach or that marriage counselor that you guys went to? She doesn't know this. And this lady, this beautiful lady, by the way, she's classy, she's beautiful. I love this lady. She has no clue about this language. She does not know that she does not know that she doesn't know that there's this thing that exists, and this is what's causing the problems between men and women. Now let's see how smart you are. All right. So if you don't believe me, you can go to your local college, to your neurologist, brain surgeon, etc. You can factually look this up, or if you can get your hands on a brain and cut it open, you can follow the nerves, okay? You can follow the neurology. Both of our mating systems are in the lower reptilian brain, both man and woman. So that's where we get triggered and turned on and we want to fuck. We get horny. But we are triggered in two different, completely opposite ways. But what do men do? They try to turn a woman on the way a man is. And that's why when you go to these pickup artist courses, I'm like, yeah, well, if you want to go to San Francisco into the Castro and pick up on dudes, this stuff will work great. But it's not going to work great for women. I'll tell you that right now. This is the complete opposite way you pick up on a woman. My sarcasm is due to frustration because most men go, no, I don't believe this. You're not even willing to listen, man. Now listen up. Here's your first test. Okay. So both of our mating systems are in the same place in the reptilian brain, the survival brain. It's to keep the species alive. The reptilian brain's job is number one, to reproduce, to keep the species going. Number two, it's about fight and flight. To fight when you're in danger or to run when you're in danger. Okay? If any of you took Psychology 101, you know what I'm talking about. Now, here's the difference. The male mating system is connected to his eyes through the optic nerve. In other words, the way a man is seduced and turned on is visually. In other words, we see a pretty woman. She flips her hair. She wears dangling earrings, literally like a fish lure. So what women purposely do is they swivel their hips, they make their butt move around, they shake their boobies, they stick their boobies out, and they flip their hair, they put red lipstick on, they put mascara on. Why? Because it's like a fish lure and it attracts you, because that's your attraction strategy. Your mating system gets triggered visually. Let me give you another example, because when someone said that to me, I didn't quite get it. The reason why men like visual porno, like Pornhub, Playboy magazine, is because we can look and see, I'm pointing at my eye right now, we can look and see the pretty women and their naked bodies, and this turns us on sexually. It triggers our mating system. So what do men do? Oh, well, if it works for me, it must work for her. Nope, absolutely wrong, completely wrong. So a lot of women will come to me, take the course, and they'll be like, well, why do men do that? Like okay, here's what most men will do. They'll wash their car, they'll wax their car, they'll buy chrome rims, they'll lift their trucks, they'll buy a new car, they'll get a haircut to look good, they'll blow dry their hair, they'll spray it with hairspray, they'll put gel in it, and they'll work out, they'll cut weight, they'll get a brand new dress shirt, or they'll press their dress shirt and press their slacks or jeans, because they want to look good. Look is visual. That is not the way her mating system is triggered. And the other thing is you do is you try to take her out to a fancy restaurant or expensive restaurant to buy her expensive things. By the way, expensive things, that's the male form of expression of love. That is not the way a woman receives love. So you're wasting your fucking money. I had a client that was fairly well off. Okay, I've actually had a few clients that were multi-millionaires. One was worth 300 million, another was worth 900 million. I've worked with some very successful executives and business owners. So this guy who wasn't that wealthy, he'd made about $250,000 a year. And he really, really liked this girl. He was about, I think, 32. She was about 26 or 27 or 20 something. And he was taking her on dates, and he would explain, like, well, we went out to this dinner. I spent $250, and then I bought a $100 bottle of wine, so that's $350. Then I took her out to this club. It's $40 each to get in, plus the minimum drink was $25 minimum. And he goes, so I probably spent on her about $500 that night, or $600 or something. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So here's the deal. I said, well, what was your purpose for doing that? And he goes, oh, well, I'm trying to get laid. I really like this girl. I'm like, oh, okay. So then he goes on another date with her the next night, and he spends about $500 or $600. And I said, well, what was your purpose for that? And he goes, well, I told you, it's a really good strategy that I use. I go, oh, yeah, okay, so what's the purpose of the strategy? He goes, well, I told you, I'm trying to get laid. That's the purpose of it. I was like, oh, okay. So I said, how long have you been dating this girl? He goes, oh, for about, I think he said 2 months or something like that. I'm like, really? I go, well, how often you guys have gone out? He goes, I think we've gone out about 8 or 9 times now. I'm like, really? I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what were the other dates like? Did you take her to like a picnic or something? Oh, no. I took her to this really expensive restaurant in Napa Valley. Blah, 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 blah. I bought that $250 bottle of wine. I bought this. I'm like, oh my God, this is a lot of fucking money. I said, well, what's your purpose for paying for all that money? Not to mention he bought a brand new Ferrari, all this stuff. I'm like, wow, that's kind of expensive, bro. I go, so what's your purpose for doing that? He goes, I told you, I'm trying to get laid. Again, the reason why I'm being obnoxious is because, guys, this strategy is the stupidest, shittiest strategy on the planet. It does not work. And here's why. So the strategy that you guys employ is what we call the visual strategy, because it's connected to the male's mating system through the optic nerve. All right, so here's the test. It's coming up right now. So her mating system is in the same place as yours. It is in the lower reptilian brain. All right, here's the challenge. Now, again, you can go to your local college, your local professor, your local freaking neurosurgeon, whatever, brain surgeon, whatever. You can look it up yourself. So her mating system is in the lower reptilian brain, and it has a nerve that curves over to the right brain's, keyword, listen closely, guys, the right brain's communication center. Now let me ask you a question. Here's the test. How do you think a woman is turned on, romanced, loved, and seduced? Is it by buying her things that she can look at, like a pretty restaurant or a pretty car or a pretty flower? Or, and I'm pointing to my ears right now, because the first one is eyeball, I'm pointing to the eyes, now I'm pointing to my ear. Or is it communication? And again, I'm pointing to my ears. Do 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 do. Okay, sorry, that's my timing thing. All right, so, and the answer is, if you said visual, you are wrong. Wrong. Now, if you pointed your ear and said, well, I'm pretty sure it's her ear because you said her nerve connects to the mating system, and that nerve curves off to the right brain's, keyword right brain. I did not say logical, I said right brain. If you said logical communication, you are wrong. If you said the right brain communication, you are right, and you win Vanna White for the night. Alright, so here's the deal. There literally is a right brain language. It's called the internal language. The female system, the female right brain, is called the internal processor, literally. The left brain is the logical, linear, external processor. Anything you do that's external, linear, will turn her off, it will close her mind, and it will literally disconnect her from her mating system. And thus, not only did you piss her off, you literally just turned her off, and now you put you in the friend zone. Just because we like pretty women with long hair, beautiful lipstick, beautiful mascara, beautiful eyes, swiveling their hips, wearing high heels, that does not fucking mean that if you swivel your hips, put on red lipstick and mascara, and wear high fucking heels and a boa like someone used to teach guys to do, that is not going to turn a woman on. It's going to make her look at you like you're a fucking clown. So here's the deal. The way men express love, the way men communicate, and the way men try to seduce or turn women on literally turns women off. This is why women hate the word seduction, and yet women want to be seduced. And so before I learned this stuff, I was like, wait, you literally just said the fucking opposite thing in the same fucking sentence. Like, how can you hate seduction and at the same time want to be seduced? Like, oh, well, and they don't know how to explain it, because it's very hard for the male brain to understand what the fuck she's saying until you learn how to open up to the right brain. So essentially, here's the deal. There's what we call the male form of seduction. It turns men on, and women are very good at it. Women have figured out, well, men are visual, and if I swivel my hips, flip my hair, bat my eyes, wear red lipstick and high heels, he's going to want to fuck me. The male seduction thing is so easy, and men try to do the same thing. The reason why you open the door, polish your car, and take it to a nice restaurant and buy her gifts is those are all visual things, and you think, well, that's going to make her want to have sex. Nope, you are totally wrong, wasting your money. Alright, see this beautiful lady right here? She is a beautiful lady. I'm sorry, but in my opinion, she's fucking beautiful. She's gorgeous. If you learned how to speak this language, if you could just sit down with her for 5 minutes or stand next to her, and you start feeding her this hidden way. Now, here's the thing. Well, give me the secret. You have to learn how to process in this way. First of all, you have to learn how to open up your right brain. Then there's a series of patterns that have to be done in a certain way, including the internal language, and this woman will want to make love with you on the spot. There's a story that I tell where there's a girl that I met at the bookstore, and within 45 minutes, she was literally in my bed naked. I remember after we got took our clothes off, I looked at my cell phone. I was like, holy shit. It was 45 minutes when I met her. So here you guys are, like that one guy, taking that girl out on date after date, spending all that fucking money. Oh, and by the way, here's what I said to him. And I said, well, what's your purpose for doing this? He goes, I told you, I'm trying to get laid. And then I said this obnoxiously, and I said, how well did that work for you? And he goes, well, what do you mean? I go, well, did you get laid? Are you in a relationship? He goes, no, I'm still working on it. I'm like, dude, do you realize I think it was something like $4,000 or $5,000 that he had spent on this woman, taking her out to dinners and clubs and buying her things, etc. It was insane. If you want to learn the secret, buy my book, Crack the Female Code, right now. That is the first step. Then take my course, Crack the Female Code. Hey, this is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Remember, click subscribe, click the like button, make a comment, and buy my book right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Oh, and here's the deal. This is what women have wanted from men since the beginning of time, but men didn't know how to do it. And they consider this to be classy, respectful, and loving. This is a good thing. It will make you look good in the eyes of not only her, but other women, including her friends.